notes. So if you didn't sign up for my newsletter, you missed out. So make sure you sign up on my newsletter on TonyBomboni.com for your own personal videos, okay? Alright, so it's gonna be a long one, so strap in, buckle up, and let's get to it. So this is a booking by Inez. Thank you, Inez. It's people like you who consistently book my services, who help continue to allow my videos to be on this platform. So I appreciate you so much, and anyone who frequently books my services like Inez does. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, of course, to all my other poopsies as well, for continuous support and watching. So this video is going to be packed with information about Scorpios specifically, okay? You can apply this to your rising sign. You can apply this technically even to your moon sign. A lot of times you can even apply some of these principles to your close planets. What are the close planets closest to the sun? I mean, Mercury, Venus, and Mars as well, okay? So anything Scorpio related in your birth chart, that's, sun, moon, rising, Mercury, Venus, Mars, okay? Scorpio is going to have a strong influence there, although it is not ruled by those planets, okay? I have my notes here. We can start there. First and foremost, okay? Scorpio is ruled by the planet of Pluto and Mars. So Mars, yeah, it's going to be heavy if you have Scorpio and Mars, okay? Don't ask me about any more detail about the planets, okay? I only know so much. I actively listen to just maybe 3 to 4 astrologers. They're some of the best. One's been doing it for over 45 years, so some things I'm pretty strong and certain in what I'm talking about. And there's maybe a couple psychics I listen to. I don't like to listen to too many, right? It's a lot of energy transference and influence, so I'm very careful with who I listen to. Especially nowadays, you have to have heavy discernment. But I will begin there, okay? The ruling planet, so Pluto. What is Pluto all about? I've been talking endlessly about Pluto in the last 2 years because of Pluto entering Aquarius, Pluto going out of bounds, which by the time you see this video will be in the thick of it, as they say. Basically, Pluto is all about transformation and rebirth, okay? So things are about to change rapidly. I'm laughing because you have no idea what's about to unfold next. You really don't. I don't think any of us do. I don't either. I'm clueless. I'm terrified. But it has to happen, okay? Apologies, I forgot to mention Inez, who booked this hour-long ASMR with a bonus 15 minutes, wanted a video all about Scorpio. I believe she's a Scorpio, if I'm not mistaken. I don't see any other rhyme or reason why she would book all about Scorpio if she wasn't a Scorpio, so. But, yeah, back to the story. Because I've done a few astrology, even like private ones that don't go custom. A lot of my custom ASMR don't go public, it's... Most people do give me permission to post these public because most people are awesome. Most people are nice, But I understand, sometimes you really do want to keep things private or confidential, especially if it's in relation to your personal life. I completely understand. Again, I don't normally post things public. If it's the other stuff like tarot reading, Reiki healing, I don't post those ever public. But if you give me permission and it feels right to me, then I may post that publicly, okay? But rarely do I do. Just once in a while to kind of push my website, get the views up on the website, get it out there on Google and promote my services and stuff like that. I have to run a business, so, I cannot keep going without that website. I really can't. You will literally not see videos from me if I don't get these bookings, period. It's very, very, very true. Very 100% true. So anyway, so it's very important that, people sign on. So I really do try best to show my appreciation whenever someone does, because it really is meaningful and impactful. Okay, so Pluto, transformation and rebirth. Okay, not gonna share too much about that. Okay, Scorpio is about transformation. Scorpios in general are good at transforming their lives. They're okay and they're comfortable with change. All right, and they're okay with, starting over. They're okay with change. Okay, I'm a rising Scorpio, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm okay with change. I've always been. I never understood the fear of change. I'm okay with change, right? So if you have a rising Scorpio in your chart, I'm telling you, you probably are too, okay? In fact, most people immediately, any psychic or astrologer immediately always thinks I'm a Scorpio. They never look at the Virgo quality, because the rising is the influence, what people view you as, right? But today, I'm not going to talk about specifically rising Scorpio, moon Scorpio. I'm not doing that. I'm just talking like Scorpio, like sun sign Scorpio. But again, you can apply these same things and see, oh, how does that fit me in my chart? How does that, okay. I only have so much time, so you do that on your own. So Pluto and Mars. So Pluto's transformation and rebirth. Mars is about action and drive, okay? I like to think of Scorpio as like a scorpion, obviously, and their piercing claws. You get on their bad side, ooh, you're dead, right? So they're kind of like this, and you imagine a scorpion, and like a big scorpion in the field, like Mad Max, right? Just running and clawing, right? Action and drive. That's how I like to think of, Mars. Mars also Aries ruled planet, right? So they're all about go-getter, action, taking initiative, being first, being number one, knowing that they're the best, like, you know what I mean? So that's kind of that energy there, So you mix transformation and rebirth mixed in with action and drive. Scorpios are unstoppable. There's a reason Scorpios are number one overall when you compile billionaires and celebrities alike. Scorpio is the most successful on average. Virgo too. I'm glad I have both. But I'm telling you, Scorpio, that's that fuel to the fire. If you have anything close planet or right, like Scorpio influence, and you're like an earth sign mixed with that Scorpio, honey, money will always come. Money will always come. You will always find a way. So, because you have that passionate action and you're not afraid of change, you're not afraid to be uncomfortable, you're not afraid to go through hell and come back again, the rebirth, the transformation. So, you have all those properties, Pluto, Mars. Honey, what is stopping you? Hello, you are unstoppable force, okay? You can do anything. You're probably great in business, good with math, numbers, okay? I'll get more into that. But let's talk about the fact that Scorpio is a water sign. So there are 3 water signs, just like 3 of earth, 3 of air, 3 of fire, okay? The water signs are Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. Scorpio is a water fixed sign. What is a fixed sign, okay? There's only 3 that are in a fixed sign. Scorpio is a fixed sign, which is a more of a determined and steady sign, okay? Someone who's focused and determined, but stable. They're not gray, okay? Scorpio can act gray though, especially if they go psychotic. Don't get it twisted, all right? Because the emotions, the water sign is ruling your emotionary aspect. So how emotional are you? Not just crying, not just fear, not just anger, not just guilt, but all of them, right? All the emotions, think about them all, right? Okay, I have to be a little dramatic because I have to get my point across. So emotional, people think immediately emotional, it means crying. Emotion is all your emotions, not just crying, okay? Like you're being emotional doesn't mean you're crying, okay? It could mean, but it doesn't mean that you're crying. Yeah, again, don't get it twisted. Intuitive, you're also intuitive. You mix emotions with intuition. It's a lot of water, okay? So you're one of the wateriest water signs. They're all pretty darn watery, but Scorpio is deeply watery, okay? So example with my Scorpio rising, I deeply. I have other planets in Scorpio too, and Pisces. A lot in Pisces. Oh my god, I'm a crybaby. You know me in real life. I'll cry over lunch. I'll cry about anything. Jeez. So, you have that in your chart. You're probably a crybaby like myself. So, yeah. But intuition is the most powerful, though. That's what people forget about Scorpios. They underestimate that you are deeply sensitive because you use your emotions and you use them wisely. Again, you're a fixed sign. So it's more of a stable use of your emotions, right? You're not like, oh my gosh, over just anything, right? You know how to channel them. You maybe don't cry in public so much, right? Like a Virgo. So that's why Virgos and Scorpios mix well, but I'll talk about that later. But because you feel so much, that is almost like the water to the seed of your intuition. You can't have intuition without feeling, without compassion, empathy, kindness. You know what I'm saying? Those good qualities of your emotions, not the bad. Because if you have too much anger, too much fear, you're clouding your judgment and you're clouding your emotional intuition. It has to only be the good emotions, like happy tears, happy, grateful joy, grateful tears, you know what I mean? And that will clear the path to trust your intuition more. Like, yes, I'm on the right path, right? So you heal yourself emotionally, your intuition will be stronger. Okay, almost guaranteed. Okay, so when are Scorpios born? October 23rd through November 21st. Okay? So if you're within 3 days of October 23rd, you're in the path of, Libra. Libra mix and your Scorpio mix. That's a concoction. I've known someone who was a Libra, dated them a long time. Libra, Scorpio mix. Don't play with them. Don't play with the Libra Scorpio mix. That's all I'll say. They're a toxic mix, usually. That's if they're unhealed. If they haven't talked to their therapist lately. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying everyone. I'm not generalizing. November 21st. Okay, if you're within 3 days, you get the Scorpio Sagittarius mix. Won't talk about it. Don't know too much about that. Won't go there. Just won't go there. Won't touch that subject. Might be a little touchy subject because, again, Saggies are kind of in the category of over everything. So you might be a crybaby if you're definitely on that cusp as well. So deep, intense emotions. That's my first bullet point. And that was important because you guys really do feel everything so damn deeply. You guys feel everything so deeply. You really do. Even if you're not showing it, because Scorpios have that like violent look about them, like they're intense, right? The intensity of how they're even staring at you, or if they're looking at your eyes. Whew. You probably get asked often, why are you looking at me funny? Why are you looking at me like that? Again, especially if you mix the Virgo like me. Like, yeah, so you have deep, intense stares. You know, your gaze, like, because you feeling so much, even if you're masking well, like, you are feeling so much. People can't almost help but feel that intensity of emotion around you, or they feel uncomfortable, or, I don't want to say drained necessarily. If they don't have their protections up, they might feel that because, especially again, if you're having feelings that are unmatched, unhealed, to expectations of life, you might look at everyone like they're crazy. You might look at everyone with like deep sorrow or like deep anger, resentment, right? So it's so important for Scorpio to keep those emotions in check. Wear crystals in your pocket throughout the day that can just tone down those feelings so you're not letting them rule you, right? Because we should never let our feelings rule our lives, okay? Because so many times people say something stupid online that regret it later. You let your feelings take over that day. That's why you didn't think clearly. They're creatures of passion with focus on goals, okay? This is why I emphasize the success part, okay, as a keyword. They love to succeed. They love to thrive and get ahead. They thrive in that type of environment. not doing well. They're not doing well, right? They can't control their emotions unless they're doing well in life. They want to feel like they are driven and like they can get ahead. They are usually ones that I would recommend the most, Scorpios, especially if you have like Scorpio rising or moon, to do intense and quick, fast-paced workouts, like punching bag, something to get that anger and aggression out, something to let that energy go, especially if you have Saggy and Scorpio mix, like cusp, or a lot of Saggy Scorpio in your chart. You got to get that energy out of you, okay? Because you're holding it in and it can cause you to be depressed, okay? Scorpios do have a tendency to get depression because they're holding in their anger when they should release it in a healthy manner, okay? Not in a violent manner, okay? So instead of channeling all that energy toward anger or like towards somebody, if you channel that energy toward a passionate drive, you will succeed and buy that Lamborghini. I'm telling you, don't play with a Scorpio, because their best revenge to get back at you is getting rich. Because they have a jealous spirit and they think everyone's jealous. So they think you being jealous of them is the perfect way to get back at them. Not true. Not everyone's a jealous spirit like Scorpio, but that's what a Scorpio does. So if you get on the Scorpio's wrong side, they'll make sure you feel jealous and spite and anger like they're feeling inside if they're unhealed, okay? So it helps you get to know yourself more. But yeah, they're passionate. They're very fiery in a way. They're like the most fiery water sign, you know? So they're going to have that passion about them. And they're focused. Again, they're determined and fixed. They're focused and steady to reach their goals. So this is why they, on average, succeed the most, okay? Let me get a drink of water, please. A drink of water sign. Okay. I actually have in my pocket right now, I guess I could show you a couple crystals to make this video long. You mix tangerine quartz, which I recently purchased, thanks to the influence of a recent video. You mix that with any azestolite. I put honey gold azestolite because it's great for spiritual understanding. This will give you a deep, profound sense of spiritual wisdom. So I'm wearing it now to help guide me and support me in getting the message across more accurately through spirit. Okay, so let's continue. They're the most mysterious, so I get this all the time too, being a rising Scorpio. Like, they literally are always going to come across as a mystery to somebody. Ooh, my camera's doing something weird. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, it struggled to focus on my face for a minute. I guess the camera thought I was mysterious too. But anyway, so yes, I get this all the time. You're a mystery. You don't reveal too much. You don't share too much about yourself. You kind of, well, I do online, but I'm a different personality. Tony Bomboni is different than Antonio. Hello, haven't you known that? No, I'm joking. But seriously, like, we're not going to reveal too much in our private life, right? Private stays private. So yeah, and it's just the look about you. It's just, again, because water creates illusion. Water can ripple. So you're not ever going to reveal your true self or your true intentions for the matter, okay? Unless you can really trust, because Scorpios has a trust issue, and I'll get to that in a moment. But you go through transformation fearlessly, as I have mentioned already. You are always looking for the truth. You're always seeking deeper insight and clarity into things. You're always asking questions. Maybe as a child, it's hard with children. You don't get, if you're 18 or under, it's like you're not a fully developed adult. You don't know yourself yet. Like, it's hard to guess what a child's zodiac is. You're still learning. You're still going through life, and a lot of times your traumatic experiences in life shape you and cloud you and your judgment and who you're around, what you're absorbing in your environment. So you can't really look into zodiac unless you're 18 or older. I'm just being honest with you, until you know yourself on a deeper scale. So but anyway, back to the point. you're seeking answers, and because trust is important to you, because you're so distrusting as a Scorpio, you're always going to seek those answers out of someone. So you're always going to maybe pry, maybe to the point of annoyance. You're going to ask questions. Maybe you'd be you'd probably make a good news reporter, right? But a cynical one, right? Because you're skeptical, maybe you can be spiteful, right? So those are just negative qualities. Again, there's so many good qualities to a Scorpio, don't get me wrong, which I'm doing my best to mention to the best of my detail. Paco, you okay, buddy? What's going on with you? Oh, he's having hiccups. Yeah, it'll pass. Hopefully he's okay. He was going through it this morning. Sometimes I can't process that he's getting older, but there's that. So you're very self-judgmental, though. That's the thing no one knows about you. And this is something that I learned as well while doing my research. Scorpios just criticize themselves. They're hypercritical, not to the point of being like, where, like, let's say Capricorn. Capricorn would be probably critical of others and other things and situations and events. Scorpio keeps it to themselves. Again, that's part of their mysterious nature. You'll never know that they're judging themselves, that they're hard on themselves. They may feel a little insecurity because they feel so darn deeply. And you don't. You'll never get it. You'll never get what Scorpios go through, right? So they don't share because they know you don't get it. Many trust issues. Yeah. So this is a huge point. They literally cannot trust you unless they build a solid foundation with you. That's it, okay? Even after they do, they're still skeptical. They're still gonna think, like, they can say, yeah, I trust you. Inside, they're screaming. Yeah. I'm like this too. Like, it takes a lot to build trust. So that's part of insecurity, though. You come across insecure if they can dive deeper through your mask and your mysterious nature, which is probably why you shield so much, and come across in that manner, so that you don't reveal how you actually feel inside, because it feels pretty bad if you're not careful, like I said, because again, you're ruled by those emotions. Okay, so but the thing is, though, you have a lot of that fiery energy. It can be exhausting if you're ruled by emotions, but you're not overcome by them as a Scorpio. You can move past them because you're driven and determined. So there's a difference. That's why Scorpios are awesome. Because we all our zodiac signs have good and bad, We just have to work on it and work on ourselves. And hopefully this is a great guide map for you to do so. You struggle to let go of past hurts and betrayals. This is probably the number 2 or number 1 thing with Scorpio, right? That can hold them back. Anyone who has slighted you, even slighting you in the slightest, you won't let that crap go. You just won't. You will hold on to that vengeful, angry spirit, It takes a lot for you, like, Scorpios, the ones I've known, they'll do magic on you if you hurt them. They don't play. And dark magic, they don't mess around, right? So, they probably learn about those things early on in life, because of their emotions. They're deeply spiritual, so I wouldn't be surprised if they know a thing or two about a thing or two, especially in relation to things like witchcraft, And again, that driven action determination. Spells don't work unless you have energy and intent behind them. So the more upset they are, the more their spells work, the more passionate they are. So don't mess with a Scorpio. I've always learned this. Of all the signs, the least you want to with is a Scorpio. Because the crazy ones, the ones who are off their kilter, undiagnosed issues, haven't talked to their therapist in many years, and they get hurt bad enough, they get really badly betrayed or backstabbed. Oh, baby, you ain't gonna make it. You ain't gonna make it, baby. Better count your prayers, honey. Yeah, so don't mess with a Scorpio. All right. Like, being friends with a Scorpio might be exhausting for some signs who are incompatible with them. Well, let me try something because this keeps messing with me. Why is it struggling to focus on my face? Oh my gosh. Okay. But those who, are friends with them, who are not exhausted by them, meaning like you're one of the 6 compatible signs with the Scorpio, which I'll get into shortly, you may need to validate and revalidate their feelings, or like, say like, oh, your feelings are valid, or like say, oh no, you're doing great, you're doing better than you think. Like, give them positive reinforcement and reassurance, okay? Because they need that, right? They need that friend to support them on their journey. And because a lot of the Scorpios can build resentment toward their friendships if they're not careful, right? If they feel like they're not getting enough out of the friendship, because they kind of feed off that energy in a way. So always be like, yeah, you're doing great, genuinely mean it. Don't be fake, but like give Scorpio that love, right? They really need that because they're so hard on themselves. They really think they're an enemy. They really think they're evil sometimes. And you're not. It's just you have so much emotions clouding you sometimes, okay? Because, yeah, you've done some crap in the past, but, like, you're not evil. You're just learning, right? You're learning not to let that anger control you, let that vengeful nature control your life, even if you've hurt somebody before. But, yeah, so maybe Scorpios may struggle feeling guilt, remorse, There's a lot of famous psychopaths who are Scorpios. So, again, don't mess with them. Vengeful by nature. So, yeah. Their first emotion will be like, well, I'm going to get you back. I'm going to get you back for that. Right? Like, they're not thinking about love, peace, harmony. No, the first reaction, immediate anger, pissed off. How can I get you back? Right? Again, if you haven't done the work. If you haven't healed that part of you, right? Because I believe, astrology is everything, but I believe that you are given the zodiac sign you are given for a reason, so you can work on it, the bad qualities of that sign, okay? You weren't a Scorpio probably in your past lives all the time, so you're a Scorpio in this life. Your soul specifically chooses the day and time and location of birth to learn something. There's a reason your birth chart exists, and it's the most powerful piece of information that you can possibly attain. Probably what was in the Library of Alexandria. Probably why religions wanted it burned down. You have to know yourself. Your greatest power is knowing thyself. It's even in the Bible. The Bible has a lot of truth and hints in it. You just have to pay attention. So, the enemy always has to throw hints, right? So, that's part of their sinful nature. But anyway, so if you are born as a Scorpio, work on that vengeful spirit, right? Because you're not going to be there forever. You got to work through it. So when I'm saying you're this, you're that, I'm not saying you're stuck that way. I'm saying work on it, right? It's a quality, right? So, all right. Charismatic presence. So, here's a good quality. So your charisma is strong. What's charisma? It's just like, how you come across to others. Like charisma, I like to think the perfect example is, let's say you're a gentleman in a tux, right? Scorpios love like fancy, luxurious clothing, like Gucci, Prada, Louis, right? Fendi, Gucci, Louis, Prada. No, anyway. So, and you just have Valentino shoes or whatever, shades, whatever they sell, right? And you're at a fancy restaurant with your boo, right? Your boo is a woman, right? And dressed in the most luxurious, fancy appeal. And she's a Libra, right? Libras and Scorpios get along very well. As friends. Couples, maybe not. So whatever. Anyway. And you are the charismatic man. You're like, have a seat, milady. And you're helping to pull the chair so she can sit. That's charisma. Or you're just like, you have that socialite personality about you. Like, you just draw everyone in. You are, even if it comes across like shallow or fake, because you're masking how you really feel, right? You're just like, oh, and today, you may come across as dramatic, right? Like, it was so amazing. Let me tell you about what happened. This beautiful woman came in the office and she just had stunning jewels, and I was drawn by her energy, and everyone's like, ooh, I like the way he speaks. Oh my gosh, he's such a gentleman. Like, that's Scorpio in an essence, right? Maybe I'm exaggerating, but like, maybe people perceive you as like maybe a little proud if they mischaracterize you or misjudge you. So charisma, just like, it's part of your passion and drive too. That's the fuel to your passion and drive, is the charismatic nature. Or if you go on an interview, a job interview, like, people are gonna like you and be drawn to you on first impression. Again, when they get to know you deeper, they know who you really are, which, again, it's not an enemy. It's just they'll see the good and bad in you, right? But like, it's how you first come across. If they're not looking at the intense nature of who you are, depending on your birth chart, they will perceive you as charismatic. So you're more likely to get that job, honestly, as a Scorpio, okay? Turquoise and opal birthstones, okay? So you have the 2 birthstones, not just one, all right? Turquoise, gray for calming, okay? Gray for opal too, opalite, like, just great for just zenning out, though, tranquilizing those feelings of yours, okay? But opal is good for like success, affluence, so like, good to support that. So if you maybe, I don't know, maybe it might be a great idea to pair the 2, because aren't they both sea stones, like water stones, right? Stones of the sea, if I'm not mistaken. I think opal is found in like the seas off the coast of Australia, and turquoise in the sea. Turquoise is the color of the sea. So I don't know that if I'm not mistaken there. You're comfortable with your sexuality. If you are a woman, you'll wear that fancy red dress that shows all your curves, and you'll flaunt them and be confident, and you know that you're getting eyes on you, and you're not afraid to stare back, right? You're not afraid to be like, right? Like, that's you. You're just sexual being by nature. Scorpios, highly sexual beings, especially if you're mixed Libra Scorpio. Again, I've known one. They do that for a living. Let's just put it that way. So, highly sexual beings. So, yeah, you're okay with it. You're not ashamed of it. Okay. And even talking about sex, like, you're not afraid of having these deep discussions about sexuality in general. Okay. And I know sexuality is so much more broad than just that term, but I can only cover so much today. So dark colors are suitable for you in terms of your home and clothing. Forest green walls, dark red lip, right? Yeah, wine red pants, like I'm wearing now, actually. Right? Like, dark colors are what draws you in, and you enter a home dark, right? Dimly lit lights, nothing bright, nothing intense. Well, intense, bold colors, but dark. Nothing like intense, like bright, you know what I mean? Or pastel. You like, if you have the money, which you will find eventually, stylish and luxurious clothing. You won't settle for less. Fancy watches, fancy cars, right? Fancy big houses. Like, you don't like anything to do with less than that, basically. If money wasn't a factor, that would be your whole life. Yeah. So, just imagine, like, close your eyes, imagine yourself walking into a mansion and the walls are like a dark green, and then another bedroom's like dark red, right? And you have your, Gucci vest sitting on your bed waiting for you, like, dimly lit candles and lamps as you walk in, and you have a fancy meal prepared by a professional chef. Scorpio, honey. Okay. You value privacy and peace, especially in the home. Once you come home, you don't want to hear anything. You don't want drama. You even probably shut off your phone for a minute. You just want Zen. Your home is your character. It is you. When someone walks into your house, if they have the blessing to do so, because they don't trust just anyone to come in their house. I know I don't. In fact, no one has actually been in here besides like one friend, and that me and my partner know, and that my family. That's it. Period. You value your privacy. So here's the difference with Scorpio, right? You love to socialize. Don't get me wrong. It is a huge part of who you are. When you are outside of your physical home, you act out, you do the whole drama, you gossip, you engage with it at least, You love that. You love being surrounded by high life energy. You're drawn to nightclubs, nightlife, again, dark, right? Anything with night, going out at night, going out for restaurants, fancy dinners, right? But once you're done with that, you let out all that excess extrovert energy. Once you come home, you don't want anything to do with that. You are the complete opposite. You want peace, you seclude, you retreat into your space, into your cavern. And that's it. You don't want to talk about it. You need your space to recharge. Okay? So not so much recharge. It's for Scorpio specifically, it's more like you just want that separation. You want that distance from what you just did out there, acting crazy as if you were in Las Vegas, right? So Las Vegas might be the ideal place for you, especially if you love nightlife as a Scorpio, okay? Cities. I'll get to that in a moment. Actually, that's next. If you live in a city by the water, specifically, would be ideal for a Scorpio. Okay? I think Cincinnati comes to mind. Something by a river. City by a river, right? Specifically. Chicago, Lake Michigan's right there. You have a fancy, cute apartment that's spacious enough for you to walk around. Scorpio can't be having no tight living quarters. Remember, think of a big scorpion in the desert, Mad Max style. You need your space to roam, get that energy out, work out. You need a workout room, right? Or you need somewhere to easy access to the gym, or like maybe like a city with everything close by is best for you. So you could just, even if you live in a tiny cozy apartment, you just walk down to the Whole Foods, then go to your gym, and then walk to the yoga studio, go to your friend's house, like all within 10-15 minutes, right? Ideal for a Scorpio. Okay? Get that energy out, but still keep their private life private. Their private quarters private. So, rural country environments are cute until they're not. That's the least ideal, right? If it's by a river or a lake or a stream, like, that's a little better. But the ideal is a city where everything is within close proximity to your living space. But make sure not too much traffic noise, again, like unless you have like blackout curtains and good soundproof machines, you know what I mean? Because you need peace in your house. So you are very precautious with your finances. So if you don't have money, you don't have money, and you're not going to spend money you don't have, or go into unnecessary debt. This is if you don't have other things in your chart influencing you in a negative way, of course. But once you have money, you are spending extremely generously, more than anyone I know. You are very generous. Any Scorpio I've met, they're so generous. They really are. Okay? It's almost too nice, right? But it's only once they come into money. Once they come into money, they'll spend it. Oh, they love to spend. Who doesn't? But you're precautious because you want to build wealth to secure yourself financially so you're able to be generous. You think ahead. You're driven. Remember that. So that's why Scorpios don't have an issue building wealth, but they struggle keeping it. If you have earth sign influence, you can build and keep it. Scorpio's water, again, like a lot of times Pisces will be very big spenders. Same with Cancer. You have a lot of water. So water slips from your hands. Money will slip from your hands just as quick as it came. You know, you're able to attract it and manifest it easily, but it slips from you just as quickly, right? It comes and goes. So Scorpios that benefit because they have that driven nature. So your jealousy can be a big problem for you. I know jealousy is very hard to heal, especially when you think everyone's doing better than you, everyone has their crap together better than you, and you feel left behind, right? It's a constant ruminating feeling in the background. Just jealousy. It's just who you are. You can't help it. But maybe you can if you... I think this is, now that I think about it, I think that this is a huge reason you try to build so much wealth in your life. So you can be so much better ahead than everybody else. There's no one else to be jealous for. You have a love of spending money. So yeah, I've mentioned that. You are competitive by nature. So you are one of the most competitive zodiac signs of them all. So if you do track and field, you want to be first. You don't want to be second or third place. You want to kill the competition so that, again, there's no one to be jealous of. But it's also part of your high energy vibration. You are just overall just so much energy within you that you have to use it to be competitive. Like you have no choice but to use it and channel it somewhere. So competition in anything is your best bet. But again, if you have money, you might run into a gambling problem because you're trying to compete against the machine for more coins. And, if you're not careful, betting poker or like horse racing, right? Like, be careful being like, oh, I have to be the best. Men have to be very careful with that. Competitive by nature. Okay, so prefer to keep thoughts to yourself. Yes, so that's part of your mysterious nature in general. Okay, you're not willing to share too much because no one knows how you really feel, and it's too much for people to bear. Maybe you feel insecure that no one will listen, or it's too much drama for some. But most of all, it's like you just feel no one gets it. No one gets you. They'll never understand anyway. They'll never have the emotional maturity or intellectual nature to really understand what you're feeling, experiencing, and going through inside. So you're just better off keeping it to yourself because it's too complex for you to understand anyway. Scorpios are very smart, especially spiritually intelligent. You're very rich and diverse in your social life. So you're not just sticking to one group of friends. Like, only white girls who do yoga on Tuesdays or Sundays, right? You have a wide arrangement of friends, okay? Ones that are gamer nerds, ones that are jocks who love to hit the gym, ones that are you love diversity, ones who are Ethiopian and Asian and white, like you know what I'm saying? Like diverse in all ways, cultures, food, history, heritage, genetics, just everything. You want to experience and learn it all and absorb it all, okay? You take it all in. You're friends with rich, poor, and anyone in between, right? Like, you don't judge others, you only judge yourself, okay? And so you prefer to keep a diverse group of people in your life, okay? And I think that's part of your intellectual nature. You like to absorb that and learn more. And again, there's a lot of twists and turns and experiments, like even in dating. Like, you don't have a type typically, right? You are not like discriminatory, racist, judgmental. You prefer diverse, okay? It's hard to explain other than that. Maybe you have a side about you that realizes we're all equal at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Your general health is usually very good, so don't worry too much. Usually your health goes down if you're not focused on what's wrong. If you're so busy living your life and you're not focusing enough on yourself, like if you're too busy socializing and not spending enough peaceful time at home to yourself, you're not going to have time to focus on what's wrong. Like, especially if you're constantly on the go, that's a big issue for Scorpio sometimes. You know, you need that moment to yourself. Ask your body, what's wrong with me? Why am I? Oh, I'm just fatigued because I'm so burnt out, because I haven't taken enough time to rest, because I have so much of this energy to give, you know? So, but you usually don't have issues. You're good. Only issues that you have typically, I'll get into shortly, I think is, I know I wrote it somewhere. Reproductive issues. When it's time to have a baby, you know, that could be iffy. At times, your bladder, okay, so those organs down there, basically. So watch what you're drinking, okay? Scorpio's water sign can be heavily influenced by the drink. Be careful of too much drinking, okay? Hydrate, drink water, electrolytes, coconut water, right? And your large intestine is affected. Eat more avocados, okay? If you have colon issues, you know, a lot of times it's like not enough of the good stuff. The fiber, you know, I think papaya, I believe, is also great for your large intestine, if I'm not mistaken. Not medical advice, consult your physician, but I'm telling you, avocados have changed my life. Put it in your salad, put it on a bagel. Do what you can, sprinkle it in your life, okay? So it also gives you good hydration. Those have plenty of water inside them. So it might help your bladder, probably. Reproductive, it's unfortunate, but there's not too much that can help with that. Besides, what I can recommend is Reiki healing or crystals therapy. A lot of times it comes from past life trauma or genetic trauma from like your lineage, like they struggled to have children too, so now you do too. There's not really like food that can help with that, from what I understand. Just heal yourself. And some things are written, some things are predetermined. You just can't, and it's what it is. Yeah, Scorpios don't like superficiality and small talk, even though they may come across that way. They want to go deeper with you. You know, any conversations I've had with Scorpio men were very attractive to me. Not that I was attracted to them, but it was like, it almost confused me. It almost made me feel like, oh, maybe I would like them as a boyfriend. I'm talking about because simply of how deep they would go, right? I'm drawn to the depth, emotional, intellectual conversations, right? Like, because of my Scorpio too. So they love that. They don't like, oh, look at this new handbag I got. Oh my gosh. They don't like dumb, bimbo, superficial, blah, right? They want depth, right? They want deep intellectual conversations. They're mature, especially rich Scorpios, rich people who are Scorpios. They're not gonna bring a ditz in their home, like they're to marry. Like they're gonna want somebody who actually knows the game, who knows what they're talking about, who knows about finance, who knows about, you know, socializing. They want socially mature people. They're extroverts, so that they want people who get it, who have the experience. They don't want anyone who's like a new beginner if they're advanced, right? They've moved on. They don't want to go back. Again, think of like there's a lot of, like, honestly, like sociopaths who are Scorpios. Like they just go, get ahead, defeat, destroy the competition, just keep going, keep making money. Like they are driven, right? So you would be killer in business and marketing, sales. Like you would destroy all competition. Be careful of that vengeful spirit though, because again, if someone is number one and you're number two, you'll want to get back at them. They didn't do anything to you. They just are number one. You'll want to destroy them if you're not careful. So be careful. Prone to nervous tension. Okay, so this is the only health issue I would say overall that's chronic, right? So your nerves, right? You let people get on your nerves easily. You let things get on your nerves easily. So where do you feel it the most? Your muscles. you'll need a lot of massage therapy. You'll need to call up that massage therapist with all your money, okay? And weekly, all right? You need something routine weekly to kind of decompress and take care of your body. Where do you feel it most? Shoulders, neck, and back, okay? My neck, my back. So shoulders, neck, and back. That's where you feel the most tense, okay? Because you're big chompers. So, yeah, be careful with tightness in that region, all right? And like I said, reproductive bladder and large intestine is the body parts that you're ruled by. Every zodiac sign has body parts like planets that you're ruled by, right? So be mindful of these ruling your life, okay? So let's talk about perfect matches, because Inez wanted me to go into more depth about not just personality traits, types of jobs that they would get, or like strongly drawn to, or what will work better to match them and their personality, but also compatibility with other zodiac signs as well. So I hopefully have accurately covered in depth all of these today. So your perfect matches would be, here are the top 6. There's always the top 6, which is half the signs, right? The other half, not so much. Top 6, Taurus, in no order, Cancer, Virgo, obviously other Scorpios, Capricorn, and Pisces. So with any sign, if you're a Cancer, obviously you're going to match with Cancers because you're very alike. If you're a Taurus, you're going to match with other Tauruses. You're very alike. Like, that's with any sign, right? So I'm not going to mention too much about Scorpio. But Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, Capricorn, and Pisces. And of course Scorpio, right? Those are the 6. So what are they? The earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. All earth signs. You match with all 3 pretty darn well. Pretty darn well. Some of them not perfect, but pretty well. These are the most matched. Other water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So earth and water signs in general are your best matches. You can also work with the others, but they're not so great, right? These are 80% on your test or better. The others are 70% or worse. You get me, right? So why are you a perfect match to Taurus? Okay? Why are Scorpio and Taurus good? Stability. Taurus provides the stable nature that an earth sign entails. Okay? Scorpio needs the stability of Taurus. Okay? You need to feel like your space is safe. Taurus always stays home. If they don't have to work, they're always home. They have a love of making money too. So this is an ideal match made in heaven, in my opinion. Cancers. Why? Deep emotional bonds. No one else gets you. Cancer will. So Cancer's a water sign, so they'll have that deep bond with you that is so attractive to a Scorpio. Virgos, again, the stability of an earth sign. If you have Virgo and Scorpio like me, very heavily, then you're going to have a high love of yourself. You might be single for a long time, right? Because you have everything you need and you know it. We all do, but Virgo and Scorpio combined has a stronger sense of that. And so you providing your own comfort and support. Makes sense. So Scorpios, I'm not going to mention. Capricorn, again, stability. And I would say probably Capricorn, the only downside is they may try to fight you back. Capricorn, Scorpio might be maybe an intense, passionate, sometimes maybe violent relationship. Depends on what it is. But, as long as Capricorn, Scorpio are healed together, they'll be just fine, okay? Pisces, again, the deep emotional bond of a water sign that is indescribable, okay? Even if Pisces gets carried away with their emotions sometimes. A Scorpio, I'd say, is more stable than a Pisces. I said spicy because maybe intuitively I know that would be a spicy relationship, especially if you get into heated arguments or debates. So let me go more in depth though, right? You Scorpios love depth. So I made sure to make this a deep video for you specifically. Cancer. Why Scorpio and Cancer? Because Cancers are secure, right? They're secure inside if they know themselves. They're loyal in love. They're secure and loyal in their love life, okay? So they won't cheat, they won't betray you, okay? If the Scorpio is not providing that emotional bond and that depth that they're looking for, though, they may. So always make sure you're providing deep emotional bond with the Scorpio and vice versa. And their intuition. Cancer just knows without knowing that they know. Their actions are dictated by their intuition without really trusting their intuition. They just know. It just comes. Because they're in their shell a lot, right? You know, Scorpios are like the crabby beings who are out of their shell. Cancers are in their shell. So it's a perfect combination. So Pisces, why is it such a match? They connect on a deep spiritual level. I forget, it's not just emotions. Pisces are very, very spiritual beings. So Scorpio loves learning about spirit. They have a high level of empathy and romance. So if Scorpio is coming home sobbing profusely on the floor because they lost their job, Pisces will be the one to nurture and support. Like that. Like Pisces is always there ready to hear you. They're the one who are best to do long phone calls with. The ones I've known, hell yeah, they are deep. Even the men. Oh my gosh. Pisces men, I don't care how straight and macho they appear on the outside. Some of them, they won't appear that way. But if you are appearing that way because of other aspects of your birth chart, you are some of the sweetest, softest souls on the inside. Especially Cancers. Like any Cancer men, Pisces men, they really are just, they feel so much. Like they'll be in class with you and they're not even paying attention to the professor because they're busy talking next to you about how they just, I don't know, broke up with their girlfriend and are going through it. And they're asking you questions and want to get to know you, but then they forget that they just asked you a question because they're too busy talking about what they're going through. Like that's how much they feel. So Scorpio likes that. They like it, almost like it hypnotizes a Scorpio. When you start talking about feelings, Scorpio will just look at you like, yes, I know, I get you. They're drawn to that empathy and compassion. It's like they feed off it, but not in a draining manner. So Taurus is magnetic. Like any Taurus, like even if they don't have money, they'll flash and flaunt the wealth, right? That they don't have. So it'll be like, that's what draws people in. Again, the charisma, like it's so relatable to a Scorpio. Taurus can be more superficial with it. Think Trisha Paytas. She's a Taurus, I believe. No, she's a Pisces, but I think she has like, anyway. So she comes across as Taurus, so she could be a rising. But like, think like that. But it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm drawn to her. And then, oh my God, maybe I should stay away from this person when I really find out stuff. You know, that's kind of Taurus energy. So magnetic and passionate, right? So same as a Scorpio would be, and it's a loyal energy. So Taurus is, you know, again, an earth sign, so it's not so much the emotions, it's the other opposite side, right? Scorpio almost has that like Libra-like balance to things. You know, they can hang around a superficial person, they just won't put up with it for too long. They'll talk to you for a few minutes and say, oh, look at the time, yeah, I have to get going. That means you're not giving me enough depth. You're not giving me enough emotions. So, Taurus doesn't have too much to offer a Scorpio, but it'll still work. Virgo, calm, grounded, and practical. It's peaceful. You walk into a home with a Virgo, you're not going to have too much stress. The home will be peaceful. So Virgo is not going to hang out with you too much. They're not going to hang out with your extroverted self or your friends. But once you come home, you know you have some loving, cuddly hugs to offer you to, again, create that balance in your life, that zen. Yeah, don't mess with the Virgo's zen. Don't mess with their chi, I'm telling you. They're not for play. So Virgo Scorpio may be a mismatch at times because the Scorpios may be too intense, too much sometimes for Virgo, when Virgo just constantly wants their peace, like 24/7. Like they don't want too much craziness in their life. And Scorpio may, especially if they come home angry or deeply upset or emotional, Virgo doesn't know how to handle that. They'll just be like, okay, I think you need a moment to yourself in your own room. So Scorpio may not like that so much. Capricorn. So they're an ambitious match, right? They're both very ambitious beings. Capricorns I've known, everything's about money. Any earth sign really, but Capricorns, oh my gosh, every conversation is about debt, money, credit cards, loans, real estate, assets, estate sales. Like every time it's like business. How's my business? I'm working on business. I'm busy. They stably fixed on just like that, everything's that. They're not so emotional though. So Scorpio's lacking there. It's just at least a safe, practical, long-lasting foundation though, right? If Scorpio's broke and Capricorn's wealthy, Scorpio's going to feed off that wealth. Scorpio's going to like the stability that Capricorn has to offer, because Capricorn makes their money and they keep it. They're the only sign who does both. Virgo makes the money, spends it as they make it. Taurus always broke. Taurus always broke and spending all the money and putting themselves into damn debt, right? Like, I'm exaggerating. I'm not generalizing. Again, calm down. I'm just saying as a general, as a whole. If you let your Taurasian, Virgin, or Capricornian energy influence you heavily, then you're going to be like this, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not generalizing who you are. Calm down. No, but seriously. Okay, so yeah. Back to the least compatible now, all right? The least compatible signs are Gemini, the three. I'm only giving 3 least compatible. So the other 3 remnants that I have yet to mention, you can try making things work with them. Won't be guaranteed though. Might be a little difficult. Least compatible: Gemini, Aquarius, Sagittarius. Oh boy. Let's get into it. So Gemini, too flighty. Gemini's moved on to the next subject already. You're sitting there crying and they're like, I have to go make dinner now. Bye. They're too flighty. They have dual nature, right? It's imbalanced consistently. So, right, the twin energy. One's focused on you crying, the other's like, I forgot to do my homework. They're not really paying attention or engaging with your emotions. Or if there's heavy conflict, they may be like, oh, let me back away, right? They're non-committal, so a lot likely to cheat, especially if they're talking to somebody on the side, stuff like that. Scorpio may get very vengeful and angry toward Gemini. So it's just flighty, flaky, non-stable. If you're signing up to go on dates with this person, don't be surprised if Gemini cancels on you, baby. Okay? Especially after this first date, because if they find out you're too emotional, you're too much stuck on certain conversations that Gemini could care less about. They've already moved on in their minds. On average. Aquarius. Okay. I'll never understand Aquarius. They have a cool independence about them. So they're not going to really engage with you. They're not going to really feed off or feed back your emotions, right? They're just like, they won't even nod while you're talking. They're just like, so Scorpio's bored already. Scorpio's already bored with the Aquarius. Their cool independence, it clashes with the Scorpio's total closeness. So Scorpio wants to be looking in your eyes and holding their hand on your head, and Aquarius is like, they're just Aquarius. I don't understand them. I'm sorry, but don't expect romance. Don't expect heated passion. Aquarius may just have maybe one night with you and that's it. Yeah. Sagittarius. So they seek the Sagittarians seek an external adventure. So they're not looking to go within with you. They're not looking to go and have these deep conversations with you emotionally. They want to go out there and have fun and drink and go on roller coasters and water park. Like, they're not interested in talking. The less to mouth, the better for the Sagittarius, right? They just want to have fun with you. They want to go adventures, safaris. Like, they want to do everything. They want to be free. They're all about freedom. Scorpios, they like their freedom and mobility, but they want to have that time with you off, that closeness, that close space and close interaction with you as well. Sagittarius is not willing to do that. They're saying, okay, I'm done hugging you. I want to go dance in the corner right now, right? Like, they need that exuberant extrovert. Like, they're way more of that fiery energy. It's too much for Scorpio. Scorpio craves internal intimacy, right? So that's not what a Saggy is willing to provide to them. So, I might have a little more time, I think. Yeah, that's almost all my notes. I might mention the air signs, actually, now that I think about it. So Libra and Scorpio, from what I have seen, is quite compatible. But the Libra may talk behind the Scorpio's back. So Libra may be more superficial for a Scorpio, right? But they can still have these conversations, but Libra may not engage too much, but they'll be a good listener for Scorpio. I won't go into too much more. So I've mentioned all the air, earth, and water signs. Let's talk about the fire. So Leo and Scorpio. I can only imagine Leo will be too much because of their extrovert nature and the extreme. Scorpios are too, but you're more better friends than a relationship. So there might be confusion in terms of, like, is this a situationship? Is this friends with benefit? Like, why are things never going too deep with Leo? Leo is not that in depth. They may have a spiritual depth about them, but they don't have that emotional bond or tie with you. And Leo, a lot of times, don't want to feel tied down to somebody. They want to be everyone's friend, but they struggle to know themselves deep down. And so they can't relate to Scorpio's in-depth knowledge and wisdom, right? From what I'm observing about them, that's my best guess. I don't know too much about it. And Aries and Scorpio, oh boy, how are you going to compete with an Aries when they're the best? Hello, they think they're number one, and yeah, maybe they are, but like, Scorpio also wants to be competitive with you. It's too much of a clashing nature between the two. You're never going to get along if you're always in competition, especially if you work like a family business together. One may always hide the finances from the other, you know. One may always think they know better than the other, right? There's a lack of that trust. Scorpio is about trust, and Aries cannot provide that stable trust, especially Aries, Leo. A lot of them like to sleep around. A lot of them like to divulge into the depths of other people, but not their hearts, their body parts, right? So Scorpio can't handle that unreliable nature of a fire sign as a whole, okay? If I have to give a positive for Leo and Scorpio, it is the overall friendly engagement and interaction, and but it's pretty blank, it's pretty empty, it's nothing's much there. It's a pretty, I would say, probably a boring conversation between the two. It's like the other person's talking and the other person doesn't know what to say to the other person. It's like empty words, empty promises, maybe even. Not much to build off of, right? Not much compatibility in general. Not much to relate to. You get me. So they may have different, similar hobbies and passions, but conversations may not go further than that. So Aries and Scorpios, the positive would probably be if they both work together as a team for a goal, like if you're working on a project at work together, you're both going to wipe the competition clean. In fact, they'll be ashamed to have ever worked with you too, because you will completely destroy them. You are driving a sports car, and like the Aries is fixing your car, but the Scorpio is driving the car. Like, you bet that Aries is going to make sure that car works very well for you to win the race. Like, working together. Do you know what I'm saying? I would say that's the only positive, because you both benefit. If two people who are highly driven both benefit, you're gonna, even if you don't like each other, work together to make sure you both win. Okay? So, not ideal for romance and love. So much. Ideal jobs. So this is the final portion of this very long video. You want jobs that are intense, to match your intense nature, analytical, and purpose-driven. So you're good with mathematics, numbers, things that are high, like fast pace, right? Things that you can channel your energy into, and things that give you meaning. Things that feel like I'm working towards something bigger. You can't just go to a job and work it for the money. It has to be more. How am I helping people? How am I reaching others? And how am I mastering my craft? You have to feel like you're building. You have to feel like you're doing better with each passing day. Otherwise, you stay stuck and you feel stuck. You feel broken inside. If your job doesn't match your life, because we spend a lot of our days working, and so it has to match with our Scorpio, in their life, period. So what are the ideal jobs? There's quite a few, in fact. One is doctors or surgeons, right? All very intense jobs, high paying, very good for them. Analytical, analyzing every possible situation that can go wrong, which they're great at doing. And what's the purpose? Helping people, making them heal, right? Bankers, okay? Need not say any more about the analytic process of that and the numbers process. And that can be intense, especially if someone comes in the bank to steal, right? How are you prepared? How can you protect what you have worked on and built, right? That gives you a high sense of purpose, protecting other people's money and their wealth, helping them invest and grow their money. It can be intense because what if it's a risky investment? So you're able to handle that. High energy career. Pharmacist, right? Very similar to bankers, right? Financial analysts or advisors. Very similar. Psychologists, right? The words just come out of your mouth somehow when you help others, because you know how deep emotions go and you get them. You understand what people experience, even though you have not been in their shoes necessarily. But you analyze the mind very well as well. And you can handle intense, moments where people are sobbing profusely because they're bringing up their childhood issues to you, and you feel them deeply, but you're able to kind of block it out too, so you can help them. Detectives, okay? Any investigator of any sort, you can analyze the situation deeply, and yeah, it's an intense job to see pictures of horrible things that people have done to others, but you, as long as you don't allow that to be taken home with you, okay? You can do great there. And it gives you purpose to bring justice to others' lives. And a research scientist. So, doctor, surgeon, banker, pharmacist, financial analyst, and advisor, psychologist, detectives, and research scientist. So I've covered perfect matches for you in your chart for love, least compatible matches, ideal jobs, personality types, planets, the element of your zodiac sign, the month and days of when you're born, and what kind of a sign you are. So that is all for today, and that was exactly an hour 15 minutes. I thank you guys so much for watching, listening. Again, thank you, Inez. God bless you. Love and light your way. I hope this has helped you guys figure out yourselves more, Your power, again, is learning about who you are. That's key to your progress in life. I wish Scorpios well. Again, don't wrong a Scorpio. They're smarter than you may think. They can analyze and intellectualize any situation. So, scary to deal with if they're vengeful, because they will get back at you. But they're beautiful, emotional beings who are so sensitive inside, intensely sensitive. All Scorpio wants to do, as a summary, is just get ahead. It gives them a sense of purpose and meaning, and don't try to stop their bag, right? As long as you're a supportive friend and can have deep emotional conversations with them, they will take you on this roller coaster ride of excitement with them, right? So yeah, thank you so much for listening, and let me know, hey, you book a custom video if you want more in-depth about another zodiac sign. Do let me know. I can definitely do that just as long for you, okay? All right, I will catch you all very, very soon. And to sign up for your own personal video with me, TonyBomboni.com. Links in the description and the comments section, and I'll see you all shortly.